Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at tv33whpr.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. Along with you. Oh, goodness gracious. Happy Monday to all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. You know, we always see it's either feast or famine, and we are expecting a guest this morning, and I just heard the bell ring, so perhaps that's our guest. Anyway, my name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host Mark Cummings. You want to say good morning to somebody?
Good morning, everybody. It's always a pleasure to be here at WHPR TV 33 with Ms. Theo Broughton, Hood Research. Feedback, folks.
And I want to say good morning to all of you, and good morning to Vera and to Bill and to Katrina and Ron, and you know, it's just so many to Tawana and to one other Tawana as well. Lori.
Henry L.
Yeah. and the list goes on, you know. But first I want to tell you, vote yes for Proposal P. That's on the top of my thoughts this morning, because it just seems that folk don't want to vote or work on behalf of the members of the community. They always want to seem to work on behalf of the business owners, the ones who are investing and gobbling up land and all. But what about water affordability? That's a reason to vote yes for the Proposal P. You know, and changes, no more throat, holdings by the police.
Address this property being overtaxed.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, God, yeah. They assess the property and they can tax you more, and that's not a good thing, you know. And it's just, I've been thinking that they need to have some kind of rent control around here. You know, you have a list of reasons over there?
We got a whole bunch of reasons.
Oh, okay. Let me hear
We're
some.
going to deal with some police reforms.
Oh, yes.
And that's important. Advocating for small businesses with grants. And that's important. There's a lot of important things to look into.
You know what we need around is the broadband. All that means is the ability to have the internet in your home. And the city should have that available for all of the residents. The children in school, the kids are supposed to be taking classes online, on TV, on cable, but many of the homes didn't even have it, you know.
And we could lead the way in the entire country.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no city that's got
yeah.
wireless Wi-Fi that's for the citizens exclusively. You know, you have to pay for it.
Right,
And,
right.
You know, we can
But
lead the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's what progressivism is about.
Yeah, but
Progress.
and you know, Congress member Rashida Tlaib is encouraging people to vote yes for Proposal P. It's the only proposal on the ballot. The ballot is very short, by the way, this time. And that's the only proposal on there, so you can't get confused. And she's encouraging people to vote yes. You know, who are some of the other folks telling you to vote yes for
Well, you
Proposal
got
P?
council, you know, it's just so much going on. It just seemed to split the city down the middle. I mean,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
allegiances and friendships have been strained by this Proposal P. And you got Mary Sheffield on one side of it. She's for the Proposal P, and then her father's against Proposal P. That's a strange combination.
Some
right
people
there.
say it's good cop, bad cop. But the question is, why would he not want his daughter to have the right to vote? That's
Now,
interesting.
our
who
guest
else
that
you
will be
see?
coming on shortly is also
In support
In
of,
support.
oh, that's good.
Sister Councilwoman Raquel Castaneda Lopez.
All right.
And we're going to talk with her about why she supports Proposal P, and that's important. And you got a lot of unions behind it. You got the Laborers Local 1191, the Plumbers Local 98, Heat and Frost Insulators Local 25, and one of the larger ones that most of us are aware of, IBEW
Oh, yeah.
Local 58. And that's the electrical workers, folks. So, I mean, people understand that this time has come
Yeah,
for the people to have more agency over the government.
that's right.
You know, not only do you want to vote for who's in charge, but you want to hold a little sway over what they can do. You know, how much power they can exert.
That's right.
And that's really what this Proposal P is about. Putting a little bit influence back into people's hands
Yes.
because we need it.
Well, you know, we also have the voting for the city council offices, the mayoral office, city clerk's office. We have opportunities to vote for those who would be on the police commission. And within the charter, there was a request that the size of the police commission be reduced. And right now it's 11 people.
11 people.
Yeah, and some of them are retired police or sheriff's deputies.
Now, do they each, like the city council people, do they each represent a district in the city?
Yes,
And then they have, what, 4 at-large members?
that's correct. That's correct. Well, the 4 for the police commission are actually appointed by the mayor.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So anyway, that's what's going on there. But I think that people need to check if they're supposed to get an absentee ballot and they have not gotten it by now. They need to call the clerk's office and find out why not. And the number is 313-876-0190. Again, this is 313 area code 876-0190. 876-190. And 0190. Yeah. The okay. Why somebody call me at this time of morning? But anyway,
Is that the song?
yes, express yourself. That's what we want people to do. Express yourself.
Indeed, indeed. And that's exactly what you're doing when you get up
Oh Lord, have
and
mercy.
fill out that doggone ballot. I know I just got mine. I got my absentee ballot last week. And I'm ready to go through everything, get it done.
Right.
And so I guess we can bring in the ballot next week, and everybody can look over it
We
because
can talk. Right. we
August
can
3rd
talk
will be
about
here
it.
before you know it.
It will. It will. We have what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Right. So when you call to find out if you have not received the application. The application is requesting an absentee ballot. And you don't need any excuse. You don't have to say, I'm going to be out of town. I want to vote early. I've got to work that day. I got to vote early. No excuse. Just, I want an absentee ballot.
Right.
Period. That's it.
just
And they're
mark
supposed
off
to
you
mail
want
it
the
to you.
one for the rest of the year.
They-
So you can get your ballot in November without
Yeah,
sending in
well,
another one.
hopefully.
Application.
Yeah, well, we hope they don't screw that up. But anyway, in the meantime, we have a small, it's almost like 8 by 10 sheet of paper. It's a little thicker than that, but very little to vote for. It should not be an inconvenience. It should not take long. And if you have to go to the Election Commission office and turn in the request for a ballot, you can actually fill it out there
Right.
and give it back to them. It might take 5 minutes. That's it. But when you put it in the envelope, remember you must sign the envelope in which you are placing your ballot. You must sign the envelope in which you are placing your ballot. Can't stress that enough, because they have said that they receive envelopes back.
With no signature.
No signature in that,
That
and they,
voids it
you know,
out, right?
yeah, right. So we don't want that to happen. So just a couple of little tips, but call that number 876-0190. Check to find out if the application has been mailed to you. And then what's so sad? The clerk said she's not going to put out 47% of the drop boxes. I thought her job was to make it convenient for the voters.
Well, this has been quite a year for voter suppression. So
Right.
it's
Well,
like everybody's got on the voter suppression express.
and the city clerk is practicing voter suppression. Voter suppression means, let's explain it what voter suppression means.
It means that they're going to make it harder for you to vote, people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to throw as many roadblocks in your way as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got an issue with that.
it's a battle.
Well, there are those who say the lower the turnout, the better it is for the incumbents. That's said by the Republicans. The lower the turnout, the better it is for them. But we don't need that kind of aggravation. We need the biggest turnout that we can get. Last year we had a fantastic turnout. And now they're saying, oh, well, people aren't coming out. Why? Why? It's important. If you're concerned about the benefits that you should receive from the taxes that we pay, then you should vote.
Right.
That's right.
And if you're a citizen, there is no off year for voting. I know they say most people come out during the presidential election year. But to be honest with you, we're voting every year. Mm-hmm. Get out there and vote. It's always something on the ballot that concerns you. Government pretty much structures how you're going to live in this country. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when you're voting, understand what the role is of the people and the job is of the person and for the position they're running for.
That's right.
Do a little research. That's part of being a polity. See,
Yeah.
That's why they call it politics.
Yeah, right.
Because the people are the polity, okay? And you want to be a part of politics by voting and understanding your role as a citizen in this country.
And there are candidate forums.
Yes.
Matter of fact, there's one tomorrow
Yes.
at St. Suzanne's Church, which is on West Chicago and Westwood Street.
Okay.
And it's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And
That's a big church. That's one of the polling places, too.
Right. Mm-hmm. That is right. And then there's one on Thursday. UIN is organizing that.
Okay.
This coming Thursday. And it's important that you hear the candidates and pay attention to the things that they have in mind, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, what they like to change or not change, or how they talk about doing some things that they will not be able to do, but they claim them anyway. So anyhow, is it about 9:30?
It is about that time. We're going to
Okay,
get
we'll take a
situated,
break.
folks.
So
When
we can
come
bring on our guests.
Yes, indeed. We're going to have a councilman, Raquel Castaneda Lopez. It's going to be interesting.
All right. We'll be
Tim,
we'll be back
our
momentarily.
great engineer.
Call,
Take us
call
to the break,
your
sir.
family and friends and church members, all the church members, and tell them to tune in to WHBR. And you can go to the App Store and download WHBR TV NOW. WHBR TV now.
That's right. Or you can go right to YouTube. We're playing right now on YouTube.
Okay.
Live.
Oh, okay.
Check us out.
Wow. All right. And we'll be back momentarily.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Thabiti Mpinga from the Feedback Program. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Hey there, it's me, Butter, with my new book, The Many Adventures of These Nuts. Let's be nuts about our health. Join me and my friends, Wally Walnut, Almond Cruz, Pumpkin Spice, Chica Cheminsky, Morgan Raisin, and Hallie Cranberry, here with rhythm and song to share a fun way to stay safe and healthy. So together we can all be nuts about our health. Ebook available now on Amazon, or get a hardcover copy at www.thesenutstrailmix.com. That's nuts with a Z.
How you see the world is everything.
Oh my God, girl, you take all day.
Oh, hi.
How you doing, Luna?
The people you trust,
Stay safe. Go.
your community,
You rolling with the pain today.
I'm gonna show you how it's done, Pain.
in the best and the worst times.
Ma'am, stop. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien.
I see myself
Gracias.
in the people I serve.
Hi.
Officer Luna, Officer Luna.
Sweet. Girl, you know you can do my job, right?
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. And we are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. I have now with me Council Member Raquel Castaneda Lopez. Now, I know how to say that. I just screwed it up.
No, great job, great job. Good morning, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm honored to be here.
You're welcome. And I'm glad that you accepted the invitation. And we don't have enough opportunity to talk with our elected, politicians within the community. And so I was just happy to know that you didn't mind coming. But I got to tell you, I feel a little sad that you have decided that this will be your last term.
Yes.
Because when you watch, I watch the reruns of the council meetings and some of the committee meetings, and I've never seen it when you were not prepared with the information that you and your staff put together for whatever the issues are on the agenda or in the committee meetings. Tell us what committees do you serve?
Sure. First, thank you. It was a hard decision, but I was recruited to run, so never was planning on making this my lifelong career. I think democracy works best when we have new people, new voices at the table. But right now, I'm just on two committees: the Public Health and Safety Committee and the Internal Operations Standing Committee, which deals with human resources, law department settlements, things like that. I said public health and safety, internal operations, and neighborhood and community services. I used to be on the public health. In my head, I have to go to that right after this, which is why I'm thinking of that committee.
Okay. Well, tell us, who is Raquel Castaneda?
Oh, profound
Lopez?
questions in the morning, Kira. Who am I? So, native Detroiter, born and raised. My mother grew up in the Herman Garden projects on the west side. And my dad was an immigrant from Mexico. He migrated when he was a young adult with just a third grade education. So, I am the daughter of two very, I think, strong warrior people who really had to persevere to overcome a lot of challenges in their lives in the city of Detroit and abroad. And so, I grew up in poverty in the city of Detroit on the southwest side. And through organizations like Alternatives for Girls, which has been around for 20 plus years, really inspired me to do social work and to come back and to work with youth and families in the community. And so that's what I did for quite some time, about 10 plus years before being recruited to then run for city council. And I was recruited by, regular everyday people. So they asked me to step up to run when the city went to council by district system.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that one. I don't know if I would be here if there wasn't a council. I will say I can't say if I would be here because I don't know if I would have won citywide. I wasn't involved politically, didn't have any money, really didn't have any name recognition. Even now, people don't know how to say my name or know where I am from. And so I think the district system in that way helps folks who maybe are a little more grassroots, not as political career type folks who are rooted in their district really to be able to have voice. So I will say I'm a fan of district representation because prior to that, really, District 6 didn't have much voice on council. Ken Cockrell Jr. there was, but besides that, Joy Road, Livernois area, no one really walked over there or represented that area. Same with, the Delray community or the Boynton Schaefer neighborhood. There was never any folks who even would bother going out there on time. So
yeah, I did hear the complaint that the candidates generally came from 7 Mile, Livernois, Woodward, 8 Mile, and then Palmer Woods, Sheriff Woods, etc. In that area. So I understand that concern, but today we have. I don't know. We have some elected members who don't seem to have the concern of the residents, and that's what makes you feel kind of bad because there are so many needs. For instance, there's a need for access to the internet, and that's something that is in the charter. The new, revised charter, I should say. And it's to help people to understand the need for access to the internet. And Proposal P, which is what I'm talking about, is the only proposal on the ballot for this election season. And why do you think people don't understand the importance of being involved in every election, and they only come out for the president?
Yeah. No, I mean, I could speak to that personally. So, growing up, as I mentioned, in poverty, my dad couldn't vote because he just had a green card, so he wasn't a citizen, so he couldn't vote. And my mother was, like so many families I meet, was really angry at the political system and government, and felt no one ever came and represented the community, didn't ever see anyone come out and door knock. And so many folks in the area, the district I represent, and citywide, feel frustrated and feel disenfranchised and feel like elected officials are just there for, the performance, for the show, for the perks, and not really committed to serving them. And so as I door knock every single year, and I always meet someone, or I go to talk at schools and I ask kids to raise their hands if they have a family member that can vote but doesn't vote, and ask them why that is. And there's just, I think, a lot of hurt, a lot of fear, and a lot of frustration with the political system. And I think that's why we need Proposal P to help change our government system, so there's more accountability, so that there's more transparency in how our government works, and that there is more community engagement. Because I can say, as an elected official right now, the onus is put on the people to find things on formal agenda, which I'm sure you know is difficult to do.
Oh, yes.
Yes, to search online or to come to session and sit there for 2 hours before it gets to the item that you have a question about.
Right.
And I think that's flawed. I think it really is, the onus is on us as government and elected officials to meet people where they're at. And that's what Proposal P is about. It's about creating commissions where the people can serve on, to make sure there's more interaction with government. It's about creating offices that would better support the needs of our most vulnerable populations in the disability community and the immigrant community. It's about just getting rid of a lot of the red tape and barriers that prevent people from being able to engage.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think for voting, it's hard for a lot of folks because, one, either they just don't think it's important. Two, they're angry at the system and think their vote doesn't even count. And we need to put a lot of work into building that trust and establishing those relationships before we can just get angry at people because they don't vote. And I'm a big believer in that. A lot of times colleagues and other people write off people because they don't vote, and I'm like, no, they still matter whether they vote or not. And you have to engage them whether they vote or not. And so I worked a lot with a group of coalitions on Proposal P around the Detroiters Bill of Rights. And it was all about embedding Detroiters' basic human and civil rights into the city's constitution. So that's what Proposal P is really about. So folks know that their basic fundamental rights to live with dignity, to breathe clean air, to have access to clean water, to have affordable housing will be protected in the Detroiters in the Proposal P. And I think when you do things like that, then people feel more cared about. They feel more seen, and they are more likely to participate because they know someone is actually listening.
Right. Well, when a person says, my vote doesn't count, the first thing I think of course, if you don't cast it, it can't count.
Yes.
But if you see that things are not operating to your best interest or your community's best interest, the best way to change it is to be involved. And I was just having difficulty understanding why they couldn't get that through their heads.
Yeah.
And people need to be encouraged to participate. And it's for their benefit. Somebody says, well, people died for your right to vote. Okay. That really doesn't resonate today in 2021. They don't identify with that. Now, if people had died last year for your right to vote, that would be your father, mother, brother, sister, or, family members, and that's something that would have really touched them, to be motivated to say, wait a minute, that wasn't right. I want to change it. I want to do something. But because it happened so long ago, they don't identify. However, they need to identify with the fact that the ordinances, laws, codes, etc., that are put into place are either going to work for you or against you. And if you have too many that work against you, then you need to be involved to change those, because they can be amended. And you know, how do you explain to someone if they say, "What is a charter?"
Good question. So when I was first out door knocking and going to grocery stores to even help candidates get their name on the ballot for the charter, we talk about it like the city's constitution. And so everyone can relate. Like, they may not know everything in the constitution, but this concept of the constitution and the document that governs the city was something that they could understand. So then thinking about, how do we want to frame our constitution? You know, what protections do we want to have in there for the people? And so if we think of our own constitution and some of the gaps in protecting voting rights, or and other things, people realize that there's holes there. And so at the city level, when you talk to people about, do you think water is a basic human right? And the vast majority of people will say yes. Do you think we should protect that in our city's governing document, in the city's constitution? And they're like, of course, yes. So I think talking about it in the way of a constitution, people, that makes sense to them. When you say charter, it doesn't always make sense to people. So,
what?
Yeah.
So, wait a minute. I can't think where I was right now. But anyway,
That's okay.
They're trying to understand, what is a charter, constitution. I said, well, you know what the Bible is, right? For the
It's a better analogy.
and there are laws, okay. Well, just think of it like that. And when you live in a city that has an extremely large number of people, you need to have some rules and regulations to live by. So they just, I understand it a little better now. They'll say, I'm like, okay. And then we talk about some of the changes that are within the pages of the charter. But one of the things that was disappointing was to find that the budget for the charter commissioners had been sliced so that they couldn't get the word out, to share more information with the community, to put out copies of the amendments to the Constitution. And that was disappointing, but it was also telling that the administration really didn't want anybody to know.
Yes.
So again, that is voter suppression. And you think that the Republican Party is the enemy because they practice voter suppression, or strategies to keep the people in the community, the minority people, from voting. And no, it goes on within the Democratic Party and probably the other parties as well. So we talked about that, and we have been getting the word out about the budget being cut. What kind of excuses did your fellow council member tell you when they said they didn't have a problem with cutting the budget for the charter commissioners?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was very telling, and I hope people watch who voted against the charter's budget when they decide to vote for who they're going to support for city council this year. And so I did not support cutting the budget. Myself, Pro Tem Sheffield, we opposed cutting the charter commission's budget, but Councilmember Benson was one of the leads on cutting the budget and actually submitted the proposal to reduce their budget significantly, arguing that it wasn't fiscally responsible to give them the money, not knowing at this point in the process if Proposal P would even be on the ballot, and two, not knowing really how the funds were going to be expended. Even at one point arguing not to approve their budget increase so they could pay for staff. I mean, honestly, it was really ludicrous and really outlandish what he was saying, and I thought very, very patronizing, insulting to the charter commission and their staff, because they needed an increase in budget at one point just to pay their staff. And so it was, I know we talked about the mayor's office opposing, but you also have to look at the council members who voted no, who are also opposing, and you can see that either in their silence and not saying anything about Proposal P, or two, their active opposition about Proposal P. And so that was it was phrased as, oh, it's fiscally irresponsible to give them this money because the budget is going to end and we're not sure if it's going to end up on the ballot. So if we did that, we'd just be throwing money away, and there's no accountability. We don't have any oversight of the Charter Commission and how they spend their money. And I was like, they're an elected body. It's not my job to tell them exactly how they spend all their dollars. If they decide to do a mailer, they do a mailer. If they put it in the newspaper, they put it in the newspaper. But who am I to, nitpick and say this is exactly how you have to do it? That's taking power away from them as a commission. But though I was really annoyed at those conversations, so my apologies. But those were some of the arguments that were made, that it wasn't responsible. We couldn't track how the money was going to be spent. And we do, right? We monitor the budget as council, but those were really weak arguments. They had no support behind them.
Right. Well, now, the money that has come in is almost $1 billion from Washington, D.C., and I'm told that half of it is here, but that council voted to just let the mayor do whatever he wanted to do. Is that how it went?
So the mayor so this is around the American Rescue Plan money, the federal money.
That they said, yes.
Yeah.
Almost $1 billion, 800 and something.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I voted against that piece of it. So I'm often the one only, or maybe a couple people who are voting no on it. The mayor did do several weeks of engagement, 6 weeks of community meetings. But the reason I opposed that was because it was like, hey, here, Theo, we can redo your whole house, right? Imagine we have $1 million to redo your whole house, and you're all excited. You're like, oh, we're gonna redo the whole thing. But then I say, actually, you know what? You can choose the paint color for the outside and the windows. And you're like, but you said I have $1 million. I could redo my whole house. And actually, I'm like, no, but you could it's just really the paint and the windows. That's it. So it was similar. It was kind of, okay, yes, we have $826 million coming in, but you can only choose from these 5 buckets because this is what I think is important. So you can choose from these. If you have other ideas outside of it, this is really the plan that's already in place. And so it wasn't true engagement. Folks were given maybe 30 seconds or a minute to give their ideas about what they wanted to see happen. And it was kind of just perpetuating the same programs we have that don't meet the needs of the folks who are the most vulnerable, and wasn't supportive enough, I don't think, in helping folks, with home repairs, and helping folks with things that recreation and small projects they wanted to see in their communities, of giving money directly back to the people. There was no real plan for folks who were overassessed with property taxes.
Right.
And a lot of the same kind of employment programs and things. It was just expanding those. So it wasn't all bad, but I don't think it was really a true engagement process. And so that's going forward, but there still is an opportunity to monitor the contracts. So that's what we're going to continue to do.
Now, are there any contracts to put broadband for internet anywhere in the city?
Well, $50 million of that is going towards the IT department to help with some of the infrastructure. I said, okay, what's the $50 million? We're supposed to get that plan this week about how that $50 million is going to be used, but not clear exactly how much will go to public broadband infrastructure.
Oh, okay. Because they need some. And then there's a certain date when the retirees' pension is supposed to be supported.
Yeah, in a couple years. Yep.
Okay. Now, there's a concern that there might not be that money. So, did anybody talk about taking some of this money that came from Washington, D.C. and strengthening the retirees?
Yeah, the thing is, one of the restrictions from the federal government is it has to be all the money has to be contracted out by 2024 and then spent down, I believe, by 2026. So the money can't be used to put into, these types of rainy day funds or pension funds. So it can't be used in that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has to be used on programming or services to support the people who were impacted by the pandemic. So it has to be something within the next 4 years that actually happens.
I see. Now, there's one other thought I had about the flooding that we have had. Well, a number of things I thought about, but anyway,
Yeah.
one in particular, there was an announcement. Come to wherever the place was and get a bucket and a mop and a sponge and a cleaner and I thought that's the craziest thing I ever heard. Not that the person would not want to, mop their own floor, but to me it takes a commercial company, commercial machines, sterilizing solutions to clean up what was shown. When you have not clear water, but
Sewage.
the mud. Yes, you need a commercial cleaning, not a bucket and a mop. But I never heard anyone talk about that as a solution. And as I was thinking, with the kind of money that was sent here, that should be able to provide that kind of commercial cleanup. That's the best way I can describe it. Commercial, a company that has that kind of equipment. Whatever they use to clean a place like, I don't know, Cobo Hall, which is now, well, they changed the name
TCF.
again, have it?
Yeah.
TCF is supposed to be changing its name again, but anyway. Or the City County building, now called the Coleman Young Municipal Center. The kind of equipment they use to do that is what should be used in those homes. Some of them are now growing mold.
Yeah.
And it hadn't been that long since we had the flood. And we had 2014, we had a flood. 2016, we had a flood. And now 2021. And it how do you try? Maybe to say they're trying to put a Band-Aid over something that needs surgery. Or
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I agree with you. And we've gotten residents requesting using, amending what we voted on to create a fund to support folks who were impacted by the flood. And so some of the ideas, my ideas are around, incentivizing people getting repairs to their own plumbing, helping to support and pay for that. There's different sub pumps, or I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's a back valve that you can install to help prevent flooding in the future. But the thing is, and a lot of folks they don't realize this happened to my pipe as well. The drain in the backyard is it was an old clay pipe, and the roots were so strong it broke. The plumber had come out to snake it, and it broke his machine because it was so the roots were like thick ropes.
Wow.
And so I had to get that whole thing replaced, and I did it main drain in the backyard. So a couple years ago, and that's several $1,000s. And so thinking, we know that's part of the problem. So creating, forgivable loans or grants for folks who qualify to be able to do that in their home. So that helps prevent in a larger infrastructure systemic way. The city system needs to be upgraded, but also supporting families so that they can do those repairs in their homes, I think is really important. And then the other piece is giving, money to folks, because it is a lot to pay for professional cleaners to come in. I know people who their entire basement was wiped out. So it just rained again this past Friday, and people had just replaced their water heaters, and once again their basement was flooding. And that's, as someone who grew up in poverty, and even once I had a stable income, those types of financial things throw you back. They throw you off for a month or for longer than that. To be able to recover from that economically is really difficult. So I would love for us to create a fund and shift to folks. FEMA's going to help cover some, but it's not going to cover everything.
Now, here recently, someone said to me that a recommendation was given that they file with their insurance company. But if you file with your insurance company, your insurance company is going to increase your premiums. And if FEMA is coming in, has FEMA been approved to come in?
Yep, FEMA was just, so the president declared a disaster last Thursday for flooding.
Okay.
And so FEMA, I can pull up the phone number, but we want people to start calling to file a claim with FEMA. So if you've already filed a claim with the city, that's great, but you have to call or do it online, file a claim with FEMA. It's pretty much the same information that you used for the city's claim, but you need to file the claim with FEMA. And they'll have mobile centers out in the city. I don't know when, but soon they'll be out in the city, so you can actually then go in person. And my office will be partnering with Congresswoman Tlaib to do a couple pop-up centers as well for folks to come and get assistance filling out their claims.
Oh, okay. Hello. Okay.
Caller.
Happy Monday. Who's calling?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Go.
Hello?
Go.
Hello.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello. Speak. Speak. Pick the phone up and talk to him. Tell him when he says hello just to keep talking. Yes.
Yeah, hello, this is James Ford. Real Talk News and Obama Weekend.
Okay.
I just want to say, as far as using the thing that people can't resonate with, your relatives died so that you could vote, but now they can say you might die if you don't vote. That may resonate with people a little bit. But anyway, I think that candidates are doing a good job, but they got to get out a little more and sign posters and make this an event so that people will like to vote in Detroit and understand that it's very important. The other thing, the Obama weekend has been postponed. It'll be back next year with more venues and other things. The other thing I just want to say, speaking on the COVID, this has nothing to do with Hood Research, Theo Broden, or anything. But there are a lot of kids in the hospitals around the city, around the country, that's testing positive with the COVID virus. And 99% of the people that are passing or dying in the country have not been tested. I mean, not been tested, but have not been vaccinated. You know, I would hope all people, white, black, Asians, Afro-Americans, anybody, Polish, they get out and vote. It's time to consider and get the vaccine. If not, you're going to see ambulances running in the street with kids having problems, begging for their parents, and tubes up their throat, down their throats, and all that, because we have not taken opportunity to get out and vote. Lastly, these kids need a chance. They need the opportunity like everybody else. The listeners, if you can, go to YouTube and listen to Real Talk. It's all about the babies.
Okay.
YouTube, it's all talk. Real Talk, it's all about the babies. And also, Real Talk Newsletter has its own website now. It's called realtalknews.com. Also, people just need to get out and take the vaccine. You have kids in the hospitals here in Detroit and around the country. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. That was a lot. But I think that he is sharing his passion about what's going on, and people do have to decide that they're going to do this. And we hear that there's another strain of the virus coming this way, so that's something else. Now they have to, decide on it once again. So anyway, that's
Yeah, the vaccinations.
2 minutes, Okay. We have 2 minutes before we go up to the station identification break. And I want to let you know that Hood Research has a website, which is hoodresearch.org. It has a telephone number, area code 248-234-2371. That's area code 248-234-2371. We have a Facebook page, and we have Twitter, and we ask you to follow us on Twitter. Keep up with the same things that we're keeping up with.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Thabiti Mpinda from the Feedback Program. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Hey there, it's me, Butter, with my new book, The Many Adventures of These Nuts. Let's be nuts about our health. Join me and my friends, Wally Walnut, Almond Cruz, Pumpkin Spice, Chica Cheminsky, Morgan Raisin, and Hallie Cranberry, here with rhythm and song to share a fun way to stay safe and healthy. So together we can all be nuts about our health. Ebook available now on Amazon, or get a hardcover copy at www.thesenutstrailmix.com. That's nuts with a Z.
How you see the world is everything.
Oh my God, girl, you take all day.
Oh, hi.
How you doing, Luna?
The people you trust,
Stay safe. Go.
your community,
You rolling with the pain today.
I'm gonna show you how it's done, Payne.
in the best and the worst times.
Ma'am, stop. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien.
I see myself
Gracias.
in the people I serve.
Hi.
Officer Luna, Officer Luna.
Sweet. Girl, you know you can do my job, right?
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. Along with you. You know that's my favorite commercial. Anyway, I also need to let you know before I get back to our guest, Council Member Raquel Castelletta Lopez. Anyway, every Saturday, Hood Research has an invitation for you to join us for an afternoon with Hood Research. And we do this as a conference call. You don't have to leave your home, your easy chair, or your bed, your backyard, anything. You just call 1-978-990-5000. 1-978-990-5000. And the access code is 338729. Press the pound key and join the conversation. We have all kinds of people from the community who call in, elected officials, entertainers, authors, etc. We even had a comedian. Come on. But that's every Saturday. It's now from 3 until 6 p.m. 3 until 6 p.m. Last Saturday, we had a mayoral candidate, Anthony Adams. We invite all candidates to join us and share their information, their plans, their dreams, you know. And after that, we had a video of a debate between Charter Vice Chairperson Nicole Small and Reverend Horace Sheffield. The debate was, of course, on Proposition P, and that ran, and after that, we had a discussion on it, and people from the community called in, and they shared their concerns, their opinions, etc. Now, tell us your analysis or evaluation, etc., thoughts on Proposal P.
Sure, and thank you so much for having that debate earlier with Commissioner Smalls and Reverend Sheffield. I think it's important. I think the biggest piece with Proposal P is there's just a lot of misinformation, inaccurate information being put out by, this political PAC that's, based and funded by people not from the city of Detroit. And so it's important to get the word out about what Proposal P is really about. And so my office worked with a coalition of folks from the water warriors to environmental justice advocates to Detroit Disability Power to Black Lives Matter Detroit to the People's Platform to develop a big chunk of the proposals in Proposal P, of the language in Proposal P. And we started working on it after George Floyd's murder last year because people wanted to see policy changes. They wanted to see how we were going to change the system to protect their rights so these types of things wouldn't continue to happen. And so that's really what Proposal P is about. We called it the Detroiters' Bill of Rights earlier on in the process because it was about protecting Detroiters' basic human and civil rights and embedding them into our city's constitution to make sure our laws are protecting people's, right to recreation and green space, right to transportation to get from, their home to their job, to the doctors, to church, to school, whatever it is. The right to drink clean water and to be able to afford that clean water and not live in fear if you're a pregnant mother or have a chronic illness, not live in fear of your water being shut off. Proposal P is really about protecting Detroiters, again, basic human and civil rights. And so I wholeheartedly endorse Proposal P. And I say this for folks that may know me or don't know me. I've always been a champion for justice and equity. And even if I'm always on the losing end, we always vote the way with integrity and with, again, equity and justice at the forefront. And I only stand behind things that I really think are promoting justice and promoting equity. And I stand 100% behind Proposal P and the people that put it together because they really were Detroiters. Over 400 ideas were submitted, and what's before you on the ballot are changes to our current charter to really, again, protect Detroiters' right to transportation, to housing, redefining affordability based on Detroiters' AMI, creating a commission to look into coming up with public broadband, protecting unions' rights to with responsible contracting, addressing some of the tax breaks and such given to corporations and making sure there's more transparency around that process. So I get in closing because I know I'm going on about Proposal P, but it really is the work I'm the most proud of, and I think if it passes will truly transform Detroiters' lives. I would just say that a lot of folks who are in opposition and saying vote no haven't actually read it and don't know what's in the charter, and then once they have read it they're like, actually those are good ideas, but it's going to cost too much money. And my question is always, what is the cost that we're willing to bear for folks who literally in some communities are dying from the amount of pollution? And Detroiters are already bearing the cost of not having these protections in the charter. Our current budget is $1.1 billion. Any charter is going to have some cost associated with it. But the proposals in here show that we'll actually have an increase in some revenue and increased participation in things. And so for me, the cost is too high to deny Detroiters water, to deny Detroiters housing, to deny Detroiters breathing clean air. That cost is Detroiters livelihood and well-being. And I think that's simply a price that's too high to pay and that we need to be supporting and voting yes on Proposal P.
That's great. I like that. I couldn't add anything more to that. And one of the things that we've been stressing is it is for your benefit. We have been sharing that the commercials that come on saying no are by people who did not attend the meetings. That's what we've been told. They did not attend the meetings. And not only were there meetings by the commissioners, there were regular meetings by what we call committee groups, task force working groups, and they would review. Each group was assigned a section, you know, and they would review that section and discuss what they thought would work, wouldn't work. They would come up with their own ordinances, not ordinances, I'm sorry, their own recommendations, right, and submit them to the charter commissioners. And that's where they got many of the recommendations. And then the charter members reviewed it, and then they came out with the revised parts of the charter. Now,
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
FM 88.1 WHPR, Highland Park. WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
but those who are saying no couldn't even tell you why they're saying no. Maybe they don't want to tell you. Somebody said follow the money. I wonder who said that. I just wonder. But, you know, they don't have any problems. Any problems. You know, helping out the investors that come here. You know, the business folk who come here, Penske, Dan Gilbert, Illiges, they whatever. What's that song? Whatever Lola wants, dum, 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 Lola gets, you know, that kind of thing. But in the meantime, we have to sit around and say, well, when are you going to follow up on the promise that you made? One, in 2014, we had the flood. Okay, there was an announcement that we're going to work on the pipes, the pumps, and this. Okay, then 2016, the same story. They keep telling the same story, but they're not doing anything to make it better. Then they pulled this old mayor out, dusted him off. This same old mayor that looked in the camera. This is when we were working on getting casinos in Detroit. And he said, I'm not going to make one rich black man richer. That's word for word. Dennis Archer said that. And somebody could probably pull it up on the internet. That's what he said. And he turned around and made 3 rich white men richer. Go figure. You know, that was... Then we have this woman who used to be a council member talking about water, and I'm glad they have a revision in the charter on that. She said, if you want water, get a bucket and go down to the Detroit River and get some water.
I did not hear her say that. That's so
you hear her
crazy.
say that? I'm sure that could be pulled up on the internet as well. But what kind of caring is that for taxpayers that you're supposed to be representing and assisting in increasing the quality of life? Sheila Cocker don't crap about the quality of life for the residents, and I think that many folks were happy when she was off the council. We have 4 vacancies coming up. Well, up. And so now we're hoping that the changes in the people coming on to the council will help to make a better quality of life. And because we definitely need someone who understands what is helpful to make the quality better. And I think broadband is one of them. And as you said, water is necessary to life, so we know We need that as well.
Yeah, and I'll just say, I think a lot of the opposition is really using the same tactics Trump did, right? And so you talked earlier about it's not just the Republicans, it's also the Democratic. I think we have a lot of Democrats that, border on closet Republican in the conservative policies that they push forward. And, council's nonpartisan and the mayor's nonpartisan. And I think publicly they say they align with the Democratic Party. But if you look at their votes, the votes much more aligned with someone that would be in a Republican Party.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of the opposition is really just fear mongering. It's just scare tactics, saying, we're Detroit's poor. If we spend this money, it's just going to make us more poor and bankrupt. And that is just a fear tactic to scare people. And I know, as someone who grew up in poverty, right, if you're struggling to survive and finances are so important so that you can just get by day to day, if you threaten people's financial security, then they're going to do what you want them to do, what you're scaring them into thinking. And I think too long the city has been led with that type of scarcity mindset by this mayor and the majority of council that, there's not enough out there. So Detroiters, you just have to settle from the crumbs. And I say, no, we don't have to settle for the crumbs. There is money out there. It's how we prioritize and how we invest it. And this mayor's budget continues to prioritize policing and other efforts over investing in the people. And so Proposal P is really about saying, hey, you have to invest in the people. You have to invest in affordable housing. You have to invest in, again, Detroiters' basic human rights like water, air, transportation, digital access, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not negotiable. It can't just depend on your political will and what you think is politically sexy. You have to support these things. Now, if there's other initiatives after these are funded, okay, you can go and support those. But it's saying that these things have to be prioritized. And that's what I think Proposal P is really about, the potential and promise for the city of Detroit and for Detroiters. And so to cut through the scarcity, the lies, the misinformation coming from the Duggan administration and from his supporters, I think is really important, because people can only tell you negative things about it and they're trying to scare you. Then you want to always stop and question why they're doing that. And for me, they're afraid about the power that this will restore to the people.
Right.
And that's why they don't even want it to make it on the ballot.
Right. And we can't stress that too much. You need to have the support of the charter, which is our constitution for the city. You need to have that. And you have an opportunity now to make sure that we get that by voting yes on Proposal P. P is for the people. You need to vote on that. And it's almost $1 billion. It's coming to the city. Almost $1 billion going to the Detroit public school system. $220 million is going to the county. But for anybody to say, oh, we don't have the money, you have to stop and think, well, wait a minute. We don't have the money because of what? Are you redirecting it to your friends? They say follow the money. So this is a good time to be following the money and to wonder, when is the superintendent going to come out and speak to the fact that he got almost $1 billion? So there is money in the city of Detroit. Now, I want to ask you this. The nuisance abatement program is still on the books, still in effect, but it's not being promoted. Do you know why?
The nuisance abatement program, I think it was more aggressively promoted, I think, several years ago. I'm not sure. That's a good question, why there's not as much. I think partially because a lot of the properties have been dealt with, some of the worst properties, but there still are, options. So say, for example, depending on the house, but say it's a house that's privately owned and there's continual reports in the nuisance on it, the city can exercise its right for nuisance abatement and take the owner to court and try to get the property. For drug houses specifically, that's something the police department uses. So for all those listening, if there's a drug house in your community, you need to consistently call, and once the police department raids it 3 times, then the city has legal action to be the right to be able to take them to court and sue to get ownership of the property.
Okay, so now if neighbors know that there is a house that is a drug house,
Mhm.
and they successfully get it raided 3 times,
Mhm.
then the city takes it. Now, after they raid it 3 times, is there somebody right there who says, "Oh, this is the 3rd time. Now I have to refer this over to whatever department is to do the taking."
It's the so the law department does the legal, pursues the legal action.
So after it is rated 3 times,
Mhm.
well, somebody has to be keeping track of that. I know there's a report.
Yeah, the police system, they have a system
opposed
that tracks how much.
and
it's
then
been.
it should go automatically to the law department.
Now, that system, I'm not 100% sure, but somehow there's communication between those 2 departments about, okay, here's one that's been raided multiple times. Do we have the option to then exercise a nuisance abatement?
Okay.
Mhm.
That's good to know, because I do hear conversation about that, and there's a gentleman who used to work for council, as a matter of fact, during the time that was approved, and he is very familiar with it, and he keeps bringing it up. But he says the council is not, I guess, awarding anybody, or once that process goes through, and someone wants the house, then it has to come back to council for approval, right? For a person to get it. And he was saying that it's not used like it should be or could be.
My knowledge is that once it goes to the court system, then it depends. In the past, oftentimes it's been the land bank that it has gone back to.
Okay.
For residential property, because the planning department doesn't really manage residential property. It's the land bank, so it would go to the land bank, and then they, work to whether it's sold to someone else or if it gets put on the demolition list. So I'm not sure. I would have to get a little more info about what he was referring to. But in general, if it's just one property, council doesn't approve that having to go forward for nuisance abatement.
I see. Oh, wow. Okay. So now the other, if I can describe it like this, pot of money.
Okay. Yeah.
It was approved for, it was Proposition N, was it? For the demolition. And I've always been annoyed by the fact that the formula was wrong. You cannot demolish air. And when they came up with the formula, it gave a higher charge to demolishing a structure, whereas we went from like $7,000 up to $10,000 or $20,000. And when I first heard that, I'm like, wait a minute, it just 7 months ago, it was $7,000. How did we get so high? And that was when I found out the formula had been changed. But I guess the contract, or the RFP. Now, does the RFP have to be approved by council or just law department?
No, so what happens proposal passed last year, and so we're in, I think, the second wave of contracts have come before council, and so the office is called the Office of Procurement. They put out this RFP for folks to then bid on and say, okay, we can do this many properties, et cetera, and then those folks that they choose to do the work, the contractors, those contracts come before council. So we approved maybe half a dozen or so, maybe a month or 2 ago. So the first round of contracts have gone out. The second round of contracts are coming to council related to the demolitions. And there was another chunk of contracts related to cleaning out the properties. So the properties that the land bank has that are going to be rehabbed to, seal, to cover the roofs and clean out the front and backyard and seal up the houses, those contracts have come forward. So yes, all contracts, council has to come. They have to come before council to approve.
The thing I was interested in learning about has to do with the gentrification or pushing black people out of the city of Detroit. And this flood that was 2014, 2016, and this year has contributed to black folks in general wanting to move out of the city. And it's sad, it's disgusting to know that you had employees who had worked with the system for so long and they knew how to handle it so that we had no fiasco like we did, and that they knew how to adjust the pumps, where in the systems, the city, to adjust the pumps, and none of that was done. They just, pushed them out, eased them out, or whatever way they could to get them to leave the city's employ. And apparently whoever came in didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah, I think the problem is we're going to keep experiencing floods like this because of climate change. And so in 2014, it was historic rains that we had ever seen. And never in my lifetime had I seen. And so I think it's the people and it's also the systems. And we need to work to support people, residents, like I was saying, to get their main drain cleaned out and to get it repaired, to help them install these pump systems so they can pump the water out so their basement doesn't flood. Because with climate change, what we're seeing across the world, there was a giant collapse of land in Germany due to some of the rains and flooding, and 100 people died. And so all over the world, people are experiencing the impacts, and especially to your point, people of color and low-income people, because we live in the areas kind of least desirable to other folks and tend to have, higher concentrations of poverty. And so the flooding, the tornadoes, fires, whatever it is, people of color are disproportionately impacted by that, because climate change. Yeah.
Now, in southwest Detroit, where the majority of the Mexicans live, did they have a large amount of flooding?
So it depends on how you define Southwest, but in District 6, I don't define, so people define it all different types of boundaries, but in District 6 over in the 48210 zip code, if you're familiar with McGraw, kind of Lanyo, Michigan Avenue area over there west of Livernois. So that kind of, that western part of the district was one of the hardest hit in the city. So parts of District 7, 6, and 4. So it's a concentration of where there's a Yemeni community and Latino community. Most folks are more recent arrival in terms of immigrants from the Caribbean, from Central America, from Yemen, and from Romania, from Russia, from the Philippines. It's one of the most diverse parts of the city, called Chadsey-Condon. And so they were one of the hardest hits. And if you walk down the streets there, you see it looks like entire households with their garbage on the curb because their homes were just so damaged.
Now, where you go out Livernois, and it kind of veers off. It becomes, what is that, Sri Lagoon, and Livernois continues.
Oh, I don't know where Livernois Lagoon is.
And Verner, where you going to?
Oh, Dragoon. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I was like, where's the lagoon? No. Yeah, so Dragoon, and then it becomes Livernois. I wish there was a lagoon over there. If you were Livernois passing and you passed Michigan, and then you go up to Warren. So the neighborhoods, it's kind of 48210 zip code. So west of Livernois, think Tyerman, Warren. So here's Livernois. If I think Tyerman, Warren, McGraw, 94, 96 area. That was one of the hardest hits areas in the city.
Yeah, because, wow. Now, this money that has come in, now that, I don't know how they could not connect that with the virus, the COVID. We have an epidemic of hepatitis here. You know that. They don't talk about it anymore now that the COVID virus is here. You don't even hear about it. And water is more essential than ever. Has there been any attempt, a promise, what's another word, to say that they're going to use any of that money to help in that area. You says one of the hardest hit areas, that and the east side, Kirchville and Van Dyke.
Yeah. So for water as the infrastructure as a whole, we're supposed to get more money from the federal government to help address some of the water infrastructure and water support issues. I don't think that's been determined yet, but I think the Congress is still debating that. But
God, they move so slow. I mean, people are dying of COVID-19, hepatitis, and mold.
Yeah.
And they're still debating.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they declared the FEMA,
they
declared
got around
disaster.
to that?
Finally, yeah. So glad that happened sooner than it did back in 2014. So folks can at least start applying for that assistance. But no, the infrastructure, I think it's an infrastructure package that they're working on, still hasn't been finalized. But with the American Rescue Plan money, I don't know. We council can't propose a budget change. The mayor's office needs to do that. But I think pushing to see some of the money that we received go into homes to help support with some of the water infrastructure to help prevent the flooding, because we're in July and we've already had 2 major rains.
Oh dear. Time just rushes me. Anyway,
no thanks. And we've covered so many topics. I enjoy being on the show. I thought it was one thing, but no, we got time to go through so many issues.
That's right, and that means you come again.
Yes,
because you're going to be there till January.
Till December 31st is the end of the term, and then new council folks start January 1st.
See there. Now the kind of understanding, I guess. If the administration lives in a high and dry location, they can ignore what's going on. But I heard a person who was supposed to have been representing FEMA say that if the basement, lower level, however you describe it, is a living space, and you could drive, in Dearborn between, was it Tyman Warren and on over there, they had furniture, couches, and carpet, beds, refrigerator, all kind of things at the curb. Okay, so according to this person, who I'm sure lives high and dry, was saying the FEMA would cover that. However, he says he didn't think FEMA would cover it if your basement or your lower level had a pool table or a bar. And I kept thinking, what? If you had 2 basements, one under the other, first and second floor, that's living space. Don't you get to have recreation in your home? But for him to say, if the basement was, just concrete and walls, and most people have their washer and dryer in the basement.
Yeah.
I will think about it kind of attitude. And I thought, who sent him here?
Yeah.
And you should not have to even think about, oh man, do I need a lawyer to go to court to have my needs met from all of this upset and this mold and this dirt and this sewage?
Yeah.
Grosse Pointe is suing. You heard about that?
No, I didn't hear they were suing.
Yeah, the people in Grosse Pointe are truly upset. The people in Dearborn have not quite decided yet, I guess, but they're on the verge of getting a lawyer to sue because they lost, quite a bit as well.
So much. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't gotten clarity on exactly, I don't know offhand what they're going to cover, they're not going to cover, but we know from folks back in 2014 who did apply for FEMA that they were upset because everything was not covered. It's only certain items that are covered. So we want to try to make sure that people still file the claim and get it in.
Okay.
And we're going to try to make it easier to do on-site centers so people can come in and fill it out in person, because sometimes forms are hard and people get intimidated with that. Okay. But in addition to that, I think once we figure out what FEMA will cover and not cover, then to see what do we do as a city to support the families who
So should they
assistance.
apply to FEMA first or second?
Oh,
or
people should
third?
apply to FEMA right now. So even if
Okay.
people already submitted a claim with the water department, you should go ahead and call FEMA to submit that claim as well.
Okay, well, gee whiz. As I always say, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can, and those who have information, such as our council member this morning. And I hope you have learned a lot from what has been shared here, and I thank you so much for joining us. And I thank you all for tuning in today. And as you've heard on here before, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. The only problem is you'll never know when you finish. But don't forget, you must vote yes for Proposal P.
And we got the 30th anniversary coming up.
And election, that's right, election day is August the 3rd. So also check to make sure you're going to get your absentee ballot if that's how you're going to vote. And Hood Research is 29 years old this year. And we're celebrating our 29th year on the 29th of July at Birchdown and Eastern Market, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Hood Research number is 248-234-2371 for any additional information you may want. Thank you. Tune in again Monday right here, WHBR.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.